Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I thought in War Thunder we would have a look at the changelogs again, since, well, to be honest, over the last few days there's been quite a lot of them. So a lot of them are very small, but some of them do have quite large effects, especially on the higher tiers of the game. So this one was from the 17th of June. It's a bug where the visual effect of hot air visually replaced the exhaust fire from the ATGM nozzle has been fixed. So what this means is you should be able to see you should be able to see ATGMs better. There have been a few things that they've changed about ATGMs over the last year or so. They've made them a lot harder to hear, and then they made them easier to hear, and then they made them more complicated to hear, and then they changed their visual effects. It seems like with ATGMs, there is a lot of changes going on over and over and over again, whether to, in a sense, buff or nerf ATGMs. So we'll have to see how this change affects everything, but for me, this should make it easier to see the ATGM going forward. The previously overestimated sensitivity and fuse delay values of naval armor piercing and semi-armor piercing shells have been rectified. So this is talking about what we saw in the developer Q&A. Somebody was talking about the higher echelons of the Japanese tree and how it didn't feel very good. It felt that it was getting stomped by, the other machines at the higher echelons. And, well, I mean, welcome to having huge guns but not really anything else. Eventually, if your reload isn't good enough, you're going to struggle with them if you can't annihilate the other ship in one barrage. So we'll have to see if this makes a change. I'm sure it will, to the higher echelons of Japan, and see if it makes people play them. The next one is a simple one from the 18th, an additional Imperial Navy tab in the workshop used for exchanging items for the Imperial Navy has been added for console players. So remember, console players do not have access to the Gaijin market, so instead they do get the random crates from the market, and, well, not from the market, sorry, from playing random games, and what they have to do is purchase keys independently. Now, once you purchase a key, you open the box, you get whatever comes out of it, and what you can do is, if you get a certain amount of a certain type of skin or a certain vehicle, you can trade them for other stuff. So basically it's either a system where you trade upwards depending on how many skins you have, or you can trade downwards as well, technically. So with that said, that's how it works on Xbox and PS4. So instead of having access to the market where you can sell stuff, you can technically exchange stuff for other items. But it's not obviously as good. It would be much better if everybody used the Gaijin market. And as I've said many times, this is not a Gaijin issue. This is a Microsoft and Sony issue. And if you want to pressure a company about trying to fix this issue, it is easily Sony and Microsoft that should be pressured. Just like if you have a look at situations like when Fortnite got crossplay, and also Rocket League, which are both owned by Epic Games, the reason why, if you look at least from the public standpoint, there was a massive public outcry for the crossplay on many forums, and there was no mention of War Thunder or many other games needing crossplay. So, in my opinion, if you want stuff like that to happen and also access to the market, it seems like the best way of doing it is public outcry, making Sony especially understand that there is a market which wants to move. The next one is on the 19th of June, so after all of the changes on the 17th, the Agano, which is of course one of the heavy cruisers that is here for the Japanese, there were a few changes. So the overestimation of time required to pump water from flooded areas has been fixed, so therefore it'll take less time for this thing to unflood itself. The excessive speed of the 15cm 50 shells on the Type 41 cannon has been fixed, so they should be a little bit lower. So this should, I know this sounds odd, but if you have a little bit less velocity and you're firing at the same distance, this might actually do more damage, so you don't over-penetrate. I know that sounds really odd, but, you know, that's basically how you have to see these things. The next one is the understated sensitivity and fuse delay on the 152mm semi-armor piercing Type 4 shell, and its fragmentation diagram had been corrected. This incorrectly made the shell more effective than previously. So it has actually lost usefulness, so it's not as good as before. Wait, the Agano might be actually it might be not the heavy cruiser. It might actually be a destroyer. I can't remember, to be honest. But if it's got the 152mm on it, it's probably a light cruiser, not a heavy one. But anyway, those are some changes to the Agano. We'll see if it affects it. As already stated before, the higher echelons of Japan seem to be struggling against some of the big powerhouses of other nations, and it's not really that surprising. The next one was on the 20th. As you can see, we've had like constant server updates every day for like a week, and what this means to me, at least, is you know how people always go on about how they don't fix bugs, and how they don't change things. Immediately when somebody says that, I know that they don't read or they don't look at the changelog, because nearly every day, or at least 3 times a week, there are bug fixes, and they make them public. There is even, shadow bug fixes that, aren't publicly talked about, which would be nice if they were actually added in these changelogs, but I understand that not everything should be added because they're testing certain things. But the main thing is, one of the big ones, which I believe is a big shadow nerf, was to scouting. They've made it so you can't scout over a specific distance. Now, I don't know whether it's tied to keen vision or tied to a stat like that, or if it's just a flat, you're not allowed to scout over this distance. I haven't been able to scout anything over about 850 meters since update 1.89 came out, and as somebody who plays a lot of light vehicles, this isn't good. It basically means my effectiveness on the battlefield is reduced a lot, and I have no idea why. I have no idea why they made that change. But anyway, let's have a look at the stuff that they changed on the 20th of June. A bug where guided air-to-air missiles could twitch and split apart when using the missile camera has been fixed. That is really interesting, but at least they've fixed that. A bug where the objects of the modular airfields in enduring confrontation missions appeared partially underground has been fixed. Well, that's lovely. If you don't know what modular airfields are, I did do a video on them when they were released in December of 2018. Basically, you have 4 different modules to each of the airfields. If you knock different ones out, they actually affect different parts of the airfield, whether it's down to repair of a machine or whether it's down to if your airfield is actually usable. So it would have been lovely if this came to realistic. Maybe it will at some point. But the main thing is, this is still available in Enduring Confrontation. If you want to find out about it, please watch that video. But this is an amazing mechanic, which I feel like not enough people know about. So therefore, if you want to go try it out, go play some bombers and Enduring Confrontation and work out how it works. It's really cool. A bug where the Type 95 Rogo had an extra gun reload indicator has been fixed. Well, that's good. The Big Bertha of Japan Rank 1 has now has now got rid of a interface bug. A bug when an aircraft respawn could occur inside a cliff in the location Vietnam by flying out in the air event has been fixed. Well, that could have been an issue. A bug which caused a decrease in performance when placing an armor-piercing reticle cross on some tanks has been fixed. What? How does that work? Wait, seriously? A bug which caused a decrease in performance when placing an armor-piercing reticle cross on some tanks has been fixed. Oh, are they talking about like FPS or stuff like that? Okay. I thought I thought they were talking about a decrease in performance of a shell or something like that. So yeah, never mind. If that is the case and it's screwing over people's machines, good, that's fixed. If it's the other thing, that would be balmy. A bug where a tremble in the sight of the XM1 could be experienced when the suspension was set at maximum position has been fixed. I believe the AMX 10RC had the same issue, but I think that was more down to it not having a stabilizer and just flopping all over the place with its suspension going everywhere. A bug where the first-person view in the replays of SB battles has been displayed in third-person view instead has been fixed. The bug appeared after switching between players. Well, it's nice to know that they told us where the bug came from, and also that it is fixed. So now your replays in Simulator will be perfect. Then on the 21st, the spread of damaging elements in air-to-air missiles has been adjusted for more accuracy. I'm not sure whether that's a buff or a nerf to air-to-air missiles. Basically, you'll have to work it out while you're testing them. I'm sure it'll affect some air-to-airs more than others, since a lot of them have different characteristics and how their explosive mass works. A bug where activating mouse view prevented control of the aircraft from the keyboard has been fixed. The problem was repeated when using relative control. Well, once again, it is lovely to see another bug fix, which I'm told never happens in War Thunder. The last but not least is on the 21st of June as well. They had a server update, and this was a large one. So the AMX M4 and the AMX 50, several bugs in the armor, the vehicle armor have been fixed, missing armor details have been added. So why this is important is, remember, there is another AMX which is sat on the dev server files, and it's just kind of there. I've discussed it before. Maybe once it comes to the live server, I'll make sure to test drive it to show you guys the differences between it and the other AMXs. But if they are changing the bugs to the vehicle armor here, my feeling is they're going to bring it over, maybe either for the second round or the second season of World War Mode, or they're going to bring it over for the summer event, which is going to be approaching soon. Normally the summer event starts at the end of July, so we're talking about a month's time, and there is some really interesting vehicles, in the dev server files. You've got the American H-34, the helicopter with all the loadouts. You've got all the H-75s. You've got obviously all of the Chinese planes like the CW-21, and then of course, stuff like that AMX. So yeah, we'll have to see what happens at some point when, everything clicks. A bug with blacking of the ammunition module without subsequent explosion of the vehicles has been fixed for the following vehicles. Now, I was running into this bug a lot, and I was kind of worried because back in the day, you were able to black ammunition and it wouldn't do anything. And this was very prevalent on stuff like German and especially Soviet vehicles if you were firing Sabo. So what would happen is I would play a lot of Britain and also some of the higher echelons of America. And Britain with the Cent Mark III, the Carnarvon, even stuff like the Cent Mark I now, and the Comet, you would shoot and black an ammo of a German vehicle, and it would just look at you and laugh, while all of their Simpsons characters, who you changed, yellow because you didn't do enough damage, were laughing at you. And they changed it a while back, so any blacking of ammo would cause an explosion in a vehicle. Now, what was weird is over the last few months or so, there are certain vehicles that you can black and they wouldn't blow up, and I thought they were reverting, that change that they did and just didn't tell anyone. Seems like it was a bug. So, as you can see how many vehicles this affected, it affected a lot of vehicles, a ton of vehicles actually, and even some very annoying ones when you black ammo and nothing happens. So stuff like the Hurry prototype, the Panzer IIIs, which have ammunition in very easy places to hit, the ARL-44 as well, and also stuff such as, the Conway, which is the majority of it ammunition. So this now has made the survivability of a lot of these machines a lot weaker than it was before, but it brings them on par with every other vehicle in the game. So I think this is a good step. It means that everybody is playing on the same playing field, and to be honest, because of the change to ammo we had a while back, they should all be playing on the same field. So I'm happy that these machines lose a bit of their survivability because of the fact that everybody else lost it such a long time ago. So if you want to make sure that all of the vehicles have ammunition black. Once you hit ammunition and it gets blacked, it explodes. You can test it yourself, but you can see a lot of these vehicles are from like rank 1 to 3. There are some exceptions like the Bradley and stuff like the Type 60 SPRG, but now everything in game should adhere to the rule of if you black ammunition, it should explode, which is a positive change. Anyway, those are the change logs for the last week or so. Hopefully we get some cool news next week. And also, remember to work on your decals in the game. And there is something else which is going on. The Maginot Line historical battle in realistic mode is going on right now. So from the 21st of June to the 24th, you have a historical battle in realistic battles in the skies and the ground of France. The event itself has 30% SL and RP boosters on it, which is absolutely wonderful. And you can go and play it and see it in the events tab in War Thunder. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank B. Young, Blackie, Daniel Stanton, John Reinman, Leonard Rudnick, Martinez, Matati, Moxie, Nick Graham, Alobrilo, Super Cacti, Elove Goats, and Seductive Trashcan for supporting the channel.